Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch. If you're new here, hello, my name is Kloee Taylor. I am your favorite tarot card reader, and I believe that we have the most cozy, autumnal, vibey corner of the internet. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you get something out of today's message. So today, my pumpkins, I'm so like I hope you can feel the energy vibing through the screen today because this reading, when I tell you I am like tickled energetically to make this reading, it is the truth. Today we are going to be looking at what blessings are coming your way. And I thought, what better way than to have you choose a Sailor Scout? So whether you're into Sailor Moon or not, I feel like, you could just pick one if you've never seen it before, you don't know much about it, just, go with what your intuition tells you. There are 3 piles here, but there are 2 Sailor Scouts per pile. So if you are feeling drawn to Sailor Venus or Sailor Jupiter, which is also dominated here by the Empress and the Strength card, this is going to be for pile number 1. Pile number 2, you have Sailor Moon herself as well as Mini Moon, and these are literally the Sun and Moon card. And pile number 3, you have Sailor Mars and Sailor Mercury. These cards that are here are also the Magician with Sailor Mercury and the Chariot with Sailor Mars. So you can choose based on the Sailor Scouts. You can choose based on those tarot cards. You maybe saw something in the thumbnail and you were like, that is my Sailor Scout, so that is the pile I'm going with. And just know that the actual cards themselves and the Sailor Scouts themselves aren't necessarily part of the reading. They are just to help you decide. So these are just like whatever you're vibing with, but they don't necessarily have an impact or an implication towards the reading. So you can feel free to choose more than one. You can feel free to choose one. You can feel free to choose all 3. Some people listen to the entire video from start to finish, and then they decide at the end which reading resonated with them the most. There is no wrong way to do this. There is only blessings to be found today. So I'm going to go ahead and quiet down and turn up the meditation music, give you some time to sit with these Sailor Scouts with these different card options, and then we are going to get into it starting from pile number 1. All right, pile number 1. The first 2 cards that we have for you are the Seed and the Clover. And remember, if you chose this pile, you would have chosen the Sailor Scouts of the Empress and Strength. Remember, these have no bearing on the reading necessarily. They were just to help you choose. So if you chose one of these, this is going to be your reading. I'm just going to go ahead and set these beautiful ladies over here so we know which pile we are working with right now. But you got, first and foremost, what is going to be blessing your life, what blessings you're receiving. I literally could not make this shit up if I tried, okay? I literally pulled these up and I was like, are you joking? You got some of the best cards in this deck as your first 2, and you got the Clover and the Seed. So the Seed, the blessing that is coming your way is that, number 1, you have everything you need to succeed right now. Even if it feels like there are things that are missing or you're not quite there yet, what you need to recognize is that seeds carry with them the potential of the all. Because think about this. When you plant a seed in the ground, yes, it needs, the the nutrition from the dirt. It needs sunlight from the sun, and it needs water. Those are like the outside external forces. However, nature gives those abundantly. And the seed, this is like it's the potential of what it can be. So you have potential within you right now that if you choose to cultivate it, you are going to see your life transform literally right before your eyes. Like, this to me says that you do need to really cultivate some new habits and practices that honor you. And something that Spirit is telling me to remind you is that when you heal, when you work through something in your life, when you are moving forward, it's not about eliminating every bad habit you've ever had, okay? It's about picking up habits that actually support you instead of continually using outdated coping mechanisms that are causing destruction. So, for example, I always talk about this one because this is something that I know very intimately in my life, and it's something that I actually have overcome. Um, I used to struggle really, really, really bad with binge eating disorder, and for like a decade. And I didn't overcome binge eating disorder for myself. And I'm just giving you my experience. I don't think it's the only way. I think, sometimes you do need to work with like a coach or a dietitian or somebody, a nutritionist, somebody else in your corner to help you. But something that I was able to do to change my habits was I recognized that this coping mechanism of indulging like that, that's all it was a coping mechanism. It was a way that I was getting my needs met that fulfilled something at one time. When I was really down and hurting, food was something that actually brought a lot of joy into my life. And it created this really unhealthy coping mechanism. But obviously, still got to eat to live. So I had to ask myself, what were the habits that felt really destructive around food? And how could I choose new outlets that were more supportive? And while also like healing my relationship with food. And it took like a really long time to do that. This is like a condensed version. But my point is that it's not about shaming yourself and telling yourself how worthless you are. You actually have so much potential. And the blessing that is coming into your life is the ability to work through outdated coping mechanisms and basically thrive in a completely new way in your life. The other thing I want to say that Spirit is just telling me to tell y'all, I don't know why, but sometimes we just got to go with it. Um, there's sorry, I have a timer app that helps me to stay focused because I deal with ADHD. So if y'all hear the little dings in the background of my videos from here on out, just know that it's me helping myself with my ADHD. Okay. We could talk about that probably on the podcast soon. But in any case, Spirit, I also feel like when those things happen, because I don't control the interval necessarily of the dings. So Spirit, I feel like is also reminding me like, hey, really stamp that one in. So something that Spirit is telling me to tell you right now with this seed card is that remember that even if you are using like herbs or something to bring manifestation in. Maybe you are like a magic practitioner or a witch or somebody that does that. Remember that seeds, plants, herbs, things like that, they had their own potential for what they would become in this lifetime. And like, if there's an apple seed, its potential maybe could have been to grow an apple tree. Okay. That's kind of what I'm getting at. They already had a manifestation and an intention for their life, whether they are conscious of it or not. And when you use these tools from the earth, make sure that you're expressing gratitude for that because you are using like basically the other manifestations of the planet to bring yours about. And I don't know if there's just like a witch here that needs to hear that, but there's something about like herbal magic that can help you bring about your goals, wishes, desires, and blessings. But there is this need to put gratitude in there, like emphasize that, which I feel like a lot of it, most people do, but I don't know. Somebody out there needed to hear it. And then with clover, the blessing that is about to be bestowed upon you is that of abundance. Clovers are obviously notoriously known for being very lucky, but the thing I want you to notice is this card isn't just one clover. It is an abundance of clovers. It is an abundance of luck. And this is a direct manifestation of having a lot of abundance come your way. So this could be like a windfall of money. This could be an abundance of love if that's something you feel like you're missing in your life, right? And this could be an abundance of friendship, an abundance of money, an abundance of um, travel opportunities, right? It's whatever you feel like you would like to desire in abundance that is going to be coming your way. So we also have for you the cards of the third house messages, and we also have North Node life's purpose. So the card of messages tells me that something that is going to be blessing your life is going to be messages. I literally am seeing for some of you that you're going to get like messages from your crush. Like your crush is going to be texting you. You're going to start actually a conversation. And it doesn't matter when you see this video, you're meant to see it when you're meant to see it. My readings are often meant to be timeless, but what I am going to say is that if you're watching this during Gemini season, this is so accurate because during Gemini season, we are all communicating so much more. That is like a very normal thing that happens during Gemini season. We're more communicative because Gemini is the great communicator. That's like their whole archetype. So right now we in tropical astrology are in Gemini season. It just started on the 21st and it's going to be carrying us till like the 20 something, maybe the 20th, 21st of June. And then we'll actually move into Cancer season. But until then, we have that third house really just opening up our communication. Some of you are going to get blessings of really positive messages. Some of you are literally going to get like an email that is the opportunity of a lifetime, I'm hearing, because we also have North Node life's purpose, which does tell me, see, there was something about purpose in here because I mentioned to you, even with the seed, talking about how like seeds have their own intention for what, even if it's unconscious, because we can't really say for sure that plants have consciousness. I want to say that there might be some science behind that, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to give you that kind of information. My point is that seeds do have an intention for what they will become, whether it is conscious or unconscious. There is something about putting intention towards what it is that you like, the direction you want your life to go in, because you are going to be getting like pushed towards your life's purpose. And I always feel like we have to have a conversation about life purpose every time it comes up, because I think the idea of a life purpose is severely outdated. Like the knowledge that we have out there is severely outdated. Most people don't understand it. And mainly the point that I just want to put out there is that your life purpose can change. It does not have to be one significant thing for your entire life. And it is my personal and professional belief that the only reason we have like old tales of like, people having one life destiny and reaching their destiny and it being this one thing that they've worked towards their entire life is that back in the day, you didn't always travel too far out from your tribe. You didn't have the luxuries that modern technology has given to us. And now it is so much more normal that your life purpose will change at different points in your life because frankly, we live a more comfortable human existence. And we're not out there hunting and gathering every day. We're not out there trying to make sure that a bear isn't like trampling our house. You get what I mean? Some of you might be, but my point is that's not typically the norm of human society. And so it's okay if you feel like you're able to reach higher highs in your lifetime versus what our ancestors could accomplish. And it's normal that your life purpose will change. I'm not saying there isn't like that one random person that they have one purpose and they literally push towards that their entire life. I think it does happen, but I just feel like it's not as common as it used to be. And with life purpose, it's okay to become attached to a purpose for a season. It's okay to be attached to a purpose for 15 years and then decide it's time to change. So I think the point that we're trying to get to here is that it's okay if it's multiple things. It's okay if it's not one star of destiny that you're meant to chase. It's okay because third house being ruled by Gemini, you have to remember that Gemini likes a myriad of stimuli. Gemini is also the sign that loves multiplicity, just loves multiple avenues of stimuli, multiple craft projects, multiple communications. They literally are the twins. There's two of them in one sign. So it's okay if it's a myriad of things, but your purpose is trying to literally knock your door down right now. And that is a blessing that is coming for you. Now, we also have a couple cards from the Below the Surface from my girl, Vanessa Samina. Also, every link, oh my gosh, Mercury really is in its shadow period still. The decks that I use today, of course, are all linked down below for you. But we have for you A Good Time, Socialize and Celebrate Life with Bottlenose Dolphin. And we have Longhorn Cowfish, Shiny and New. Expect a valuable gift. So you're also going to be gifted something specific. Spirit is saying you're going to be gifted something, and also you're in for a really good time. I really feel like even if life has been really good to you recently, or if it hasn't, regardless, you are about to enter it getting even more awesome, even more abundant, good things continuing to surface for you. I am seeing an iceberg, and Spirit is saying you have literally only touched the tip of the iceberg of what you can experience. Now, these next two cards, I do see that we have the card of loss, which, hear me out before you run away. This is still a blessing. And it says, sometimes you learn true offering through loss. You make a passionate invitation for love to take over and bring her own plan instead of the ego's. So when you lose something, it is an opportunity to remind yourself to move through an experience with love instead of with fear. And this is actually a totally new concept to me, if I'm being honest with you. It's something that Spirit has only recently been opening my mind to. And I feel like I've been through a few spiritual awakenings. So it's the concept that basically you always have a choice. You always have a choice, no matter what you're going through, to see it through the lens of fear or through the lens of love. And the more you can connect with the seeing things through the lens of love, the better. The easier your life is going to go, the less you're going to feel confused and just in the depths and hitting rock bottom. The more you're going to be open to things being more magical and more amazing than you ever could have imagined before. So even if there is something during this season that you lose, you need to recognize that it's because something better is coming to take its place. And the more you can let that go, the better off you're going to be. We also have courage. Let me be open to courageously take the steps that are shown. So I am hearing from Spirit that there is something that is being lost on purpose. It's when this thing exits your life, something better is going to take its place. Something better is going to come about for you. And the more courageously you move forward, the better. Something maybe already has been lost in your life, and it's been something that's been plaguing your present reality, and you felt like you have not been able to shake it. And Spirit is ultimately saying that continue to move forward with courage. Continue to move forward even after loss. And know that something better is out there for you. Something better is out there, something more fulfilling, something that's going to, again, bless your life. I'm also hearing with more peace, because I do see that we have this dove figure here. It's a white bird. Oh my gosh. Some of you actually have had a breakup, or oh, Spirit, why it gotta be like that? I'm sorry. Okay. Some of you are actually like, you don't realize it yet, but you are in the beginning of the end of like your relationship. And that is the thing that has to be lost. And it's not because you don't love this person, is what I'm hearing. It's not because you don't love the person. It's not because they don't love you, but something that I feel like, especially in like movies, media, how relationships are portrayed to the public, that I don't feel like most people understand is that love is not enough. Like, don't get me wrong. I think love can take you so far in a relationship, but at the end of the day, love is not enough. There has to be, like, if you love this person, but they're adding more pain to your life than goodness, that's kind of the question you have to ask yourself is this person adding pain to my life, or are they adding lightness, goodness, joy? Are they adding more of what I want to experience in my life, or does it feel like they're always adding heaviness to my life? And if it's constantly heaviness, you're allowed to stay in that. You're allowed to sit in that if you want to. That is your choice. You always have the choice. However, when you're ready to make a change, you will make a change. And I think you already know, to be honest. Like, if you're somebody that's in a committed relationship and you don't think that this is like resonating, this part of the reading probably isn't for you. However, I am getting a distinct message that this is something that you've tried to shield yourself from seeing, and your eyes are going to get so open and so wise to it that you're not going to be able to close them. You're not going to be able to not see it. And the thing that you're kind of afraid to lose is this person. Like, you're afraid you won't be loved again. You're afraid that there is like fear around losing a person. For some of you, it also could be like a friendship or something. I'm really getting the distinct that it's romantic, only because I do see that there is a ring here, shiny and new. And I just want to remind all of you that even if you're like not into marriage, which I fully respect, to me, rings are just a symbol. Like, it doesn't even have to mean marriage. It can literally mean like having a commitment to someone, being committed for the long term without getting the government involved. Okay. So, marriage or not, you need to have the courage to walk away because there is somebody better for you. And I know, like, are you kidding me? If somebody looked at me today and was like, there's somebody better for you, Kloee, than your spouse, I would be like, you are so full of crap. I would not believe that. Um, so I get it. I do feel like I am getting the energy that some of you really are in denial about this, but you need to stop and ask yourself, how often is this person bringing goodness to your life? And how often is this person bringing like sadness, feelings of unworthiness, making you feel like you need to change or do something different so that they can fit into your life? Don't get me wrong. I think that when you consciously make choices to make changes together, that's a beautiful thing. But there comes a point where sometimes the benefits no longer outweigh. And I think the thing that we don't talk about enough is that even though I feel like most of the world is super cool with monogamy, I myself am in a committed monogamous relationship. I am not like divorced from this, but monogamy is not the only answer. You do not have to be with the same person for your entire life. It's okay to be with somebody for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, and at some point get to a place where you don't feel like that relationship is mutually beneficial anymore. It is okay. Don't hold on to a relationship just because it has been there for a long time. It doesn't matter if you've been in a relationship for 15 years. It doesn't matter if you've been friends for 25 years. Like, it's okay to step back and say, you know what? This relationship really isn't serving the way that I thought it would. I'm not seeing the consistent improvement that I would like. And it's time for me to courageously move in a new direction. And Like your whole life will literally change when you let go of this person. And that is the loss that I think you're the most afraid of. But I think you already know. Like, I feel like if this is resonating with you, this chunk of the reading, you have to know that you've already noticed. You've already seen the signs. It's already been pointed out to you. You maybe have had a reading on like another tarot card reader's channel that said something similar, or even on my channel. I feel like I'm hearing that you've already been being told and you're just not seeing it. But anyways, we're going to move on from that because I just feel like I'm repeating myself at this point. Okay, the next card we have for you is, oh, sorry, actually, we're not done. The way that this will be a blessing is because you literally will meet, like your next relationship is going to add, oh my gosh, I just caught the recording at 2222. This relationship is going to add so much to your life that you're going to be like, dang, I can't believe I spent so much time attached to this person that couldn't do like the smallest thing for me, that couldn't add to me or the relationship in the smallest way. I can't believe the things that I put up with. And that is the blessing that will drop in if you're willing to be courageous and step away. Somebody that will like want to be more committed to you and the way that you live your life. And then we have the card of sanctuary. A sanctuary resides inside you, no matter what is happening. This inner temple beckons you to enter. Take a deep breath, enter, and sit down on the throne of your own heart. So I feel like this card is also kind of tied to what we've been talking about here, in the sense that this card, sanctuary, these are matters of the heart. These are matters of the heart. And like I said, whether it's a significant other, I'm not really getting that it's family for once. I feel like it's significant other or like a really close friend or somebody that you've had like a long-standing relationship with. Recognize that your heart will be okay. You will always have you at the end of the day. And your relationship with yourself is actually the one that matters the most. So it's going to transform that area of your life as well and make you realize how resilient you are. And you might be somebody that's like, dang, I'm so freaking sick and tired of being resilient. I just want rest. But this is also going to bring you to this place where you feel so much more solid with yourself. Again, you're going to realize very quickly when you make this choice how much better your life is going to get, how much easier things are going to be, and how the choices that you were having to make previously were just so out of alignment with you. And this is like coming directly from spirit. Like my head feels kind of dizzy at the moment. That happens sometimes when I'm just taking in a lot through my third eye. Okay, I have 3 more cards for you. Blessings. So we have Knight of Compacts, which I love. This is basically like the Knight of Pentacles, which tells me that, oh, I like this. She's like this. I love like the orange tones. She's just a little cutie. But what this card tells me is that you are currently embarking, like what is being blessed for you is the financial sector of your life. You are building like something to do with like new money, new career. There is like a financial prospect that is going to be blessed. You've been called to do this for a long time. It could be like literally getting a new job or starting something new. There is something in your financial sector that is being blessed, and you are going to receive compensation for the work that you do. We also have the Magician. I feel like you have actually put a lot of intention into motion, and Spirit is saying that you are being geared up right now to receive more, to like literally, like, you know how sometimes in life, I don't know if every single person here has experienced this, and I really hope that you give yourself the opportunity to experience it more, but sometimes life goes through like rough, choppy patches. Sometimes you hit that rock bottom, right? But sometimes you feel so in alignment that everything for like months at a time feels like it just works for you. This is the chapter that you are entering. Yes, it's going to come with a little bit of grief, but only good things are going to come, because you know what? When you make room, when you get rid of the things that are not serving you, the people, the places, the items, the things, you make room in your life for goodness to enter, for new things to come. And the universe always has no choice but to respond when you do clean up. So, the magician showing up here tells me that you're entering a period of your life that is going to be so much more aligned with you. And you're going to be able to create the visions that you have in your mind out in the world very easily. It's almost like it's going to feel like magic. You're going to be like, oh, I really like desire to do this. And then like the opportunity is just going to come. And I know that because you have the Eight of Wands as well, which the Eight of Wands is the card of like divine opportunity. It's receiving multiple opportunities. And lightning quick. Like you're going to see how fast your reading in particular is quick. You are going to be receiving changes, literally abundance, connecting with your purpose, feeling in alignment. Some of you are going to experience like a new crush and be getting messages from them. You might even just be getting like blessed messages about your future, and abundance is coming in. It's just, there's so many things I feel like that are coming for you in the coming months. Jupiter in Taurus really said, oh my goodness, have everything. So I'm looking so forward to hearing how it's going to go. I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And don't forget to check out my Patreon, where I do have my course, Finding the Authentic Self, or The Authentic Self. It's $12. I also have private readings available to you. My Patreon, coming up this weekend, we have an event that will be live where you can ask me questions and I will question, and I will be reading your tarot cards live while y'all are in chat. So if you want to be part of that event, make sure you join the Patreon. Link is always down below. My podcast is available to you. New episodes every Monday, though we haven't had an episode in a couple of weeks. I will be returning very soon. We've been on like a brief hiatus while I've been reprioritizing things. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Probably, but I can't think of it right now because honestly, I feel like I need to go like take a break. Your reading was a lot energetically. But just thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. I love you. And I don't know if I said it already, so I'm going to say it again. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. All right, pile number 2, if you chose the Sailor Moon and Mini Moon combo, which were also the Sun and Moon, which I thought was so cute, your first 2 cards, we have the Poppy and Belladonna. So the blessings that are coming to your life right now are, number 1, the Poppy is all about slowing down or like basically attuning to the details of your life and getting more familiar with the smaller steps it will take to create the bigger picture. And doing something, I would also say, more consistently. We also have Belladonna coming out, and Belladonna is the card that speaks of basically like undoing knots or undoing things that, like, this could even be like past conditioning, outdated coping mechanisms, things that just like, it feels like you need to like stop, breathe, and kind of reassess the fine details of your life. So you are being gifted the time to do this. And I really feel like the blessing that's coming for you right now, one of the biggest ones, is that of reassessing the direction you want your life to go and also creating habits that are going to benefit that. And something that Spirit is showing me is like, I'm seeing a lot of those like images of those perfect posh, like that guy, that girl, that person, like basically like routines that are just very like high polished. Like you see them on TikTok and Instagram all the time. And you might be somebody that like really falls into the trap of thinking that your life has to look like that or it's not successful. And the gift and blessing, well, the first one, because we have more, but the first one is that you are being blessed with the knowing that you're allowed to create your life however you see fit. And you're like, I honestly feel like you've been stressing yourself out about how your life doesn't look picturesque like that. And it's something that I don't even know if you were consciously aware of, but the blessing is that you are going to become conscious of it, maybe even right now while you're listening to this. And you're going to realize that your idea of becoming like the main character of your own life, it's going to require you getting very honest with yourself, attuning to the details, probably doing more shadow work than you would have originally liked to have signed up for, and asking yourself what you actually love, because it isn't necessarily an AG1 subscription. What else do those hot girls love to do? I don't know, do the Stairmaster for an hour a day with your hair in braids and face masks every week. And like, those things can be nice. Don't get me wrong. If those are things that you do for yourself and you love it and you're happy and you're thriving, awesome. My point is that some people will look at that kind of curation and think that if they don't have it, that their life is not worth it, or they're not worthy of it. Or that's the point I'm trying to make, is I'm not trying to make a case that any of those things are bad. What I am saying is that if you are basically comparing yourself and becoming more miserable, this tells me that you're going to stop doing that, and you're going to have the mental clarity to decide what kind of habits you want to have, what kind of things are going to make you evolve in the way that feels good, instead of like, it's, to me, honestly, the blessing you're receiving is becoming the main character of your own life, because you don't become the main character by listening to another main character. You become the main character by, in my opinion, silencing those voices and literally asking yourself what it is that you desire. What would your perfect day look like? How can you attune to the details of your life so that things look the way, not even look, but feel the way that you want them to feel? So you're about to get real detail oriented, and you're going to have the clarity to do it. Now, we also have for you as more blessings, we have the Queen of Cups. We have the Knight of Swords, mental clarity, and the Seven of Compacts. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm so happy for you. Do you ever get so happy that you get mad? I feel like that happens to me. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy for you. Queen of Cups tells me that you're really entering a phase of like living a lot softer, not being so rigid with yourself, and trusting your intuition more, doing things that feel really good to your body, to your mind, and trusting your feelings more than anything else. Which, if you are somebody that has trusted logic for your whole existence, this can be something that's difficult. But the blessing that I'm hearing coming is that you're going to embrace it wholeheartedly, and it's going to be easy. The Knight of Swords tells me that you are going to have the mental clarity to pursue anything you want. That is like a blessing that's coming. You're not going to be like confused about things. You're not going to feel like you don't have the answer, because you are trusting your intuition and letting that expand right now. And that is a sector of your life that's being really blessed. It's going to be easy. And the Seven of Compacts, the reason I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. The Seven of Compacts is like the Seven of Pentacles, basically. And the Seven of Pentacles is basically all about like attending to, once again, the details of your life, but also it's about harvesting. It's about harvesting the things that you have sown, reaping what you've sown. And so if you're putting good energy out there, if you're putting good intention out there, if you're putting your, like, if you're following your true north, you are going to reap beautiful things. And I also feel like this is like a bountiful harvest, like receiving, like you're like, I see this person like out in their yard, like it's like when people say money doesn't grow on trees, I want to laugh, because like, what is money made out of but paper? And what is paper made out of? Trees. yes, money does literally grow on trees, but I just see this image of somebody like out in their yard with a bunch of money trees, just like raking up money. So I feel like it's tending to your finances, but it's because your finances are expanding. That's a blessing that you're receiving because you are trusting your intuition and you're moving in sync with that. Now, we also have for you the card Grand Trine Blessings. Love this card. You literally came to a reading about blessings and you got the card that this reading was based off of. So that's hilarious. When I was meditating and like sitting with spirit this morning, I asked what topic the collective really needed to hear. And this was the card that came out, Grand Trine Blessings. And I was like, all right, we're going to see what blessings are coming up, right? So literally just know that you are being put in favor of like grand blessings. So this could be the reason this is so like, I almost want to say like anonymous, but that's not the right word. Maybe ambiguous. Is that the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, we're going to have to ask Siri. Hey Siri, define ambiguous.
Ambiguous means of language, open to more than one interpretation, having a double meaning.
Yes, that is the word I wanted. Okay, ambiguous. So the reason this is so like ambiguous is that with this Grand Trine Blessings card, it is a card that talks about like basically certain aspects in your astrological chart showing that there are like favorable, certain things are easier for you basically because they're already favored in your chart. But how I see this in like a tarot capacity and on like a soul level is that you need to be open to things being easier. Because I get the sense that in the past, you've been very rigid and it has actually put you in a position where you tie yourself in knots over shit that doesn't even matter. And I say that with all the love in the world. I'm not trying to be a jerk. But this literally is saying that wherever you want favor bestowed upon your life, the potential is already there. It is literally just like being blessed in general. So if it's finances you're after, expect it. If it's romance you're after, expect it. If it's a new house, expect it. If it's a promotion in your career, expect it. Because literally whatever sector you are looking to be blessed in specifically, it's coming. And then we also have Moon Soul. So again, I feel like this just kind of parrots that Queen of Cups energy. Also, you literally picked the Sailor Moon and then you got the moon card. That's funny. But with the Moon Soul, the moon is where we store our emotions. So if you feel like you've been having a hell of a time emotionally, your emotions are being blessed. You are going to start to realize how the way that you've been feeling, the way you've maybe been being triggered or feeling some type of way, it is actually showing you the area of your life that needs more attention so that you can make it different, so that you can decide on a new pathway. And your emotions are actually being blessed. You're going to feel like maybe those of you that have been feeling down in the trenches, you're actually going to start feeling lighter because this is a blessing that spirit is actually helping your soul not to feel so dense. And you're going to start to believe that more things are possible. And the crazy thing is that when you actually get into that space, and I've been in and out of it multiple times in my life, so I feel like I can speak on this too. When you're in a state of gratitude, things really do work better. And that is just a fact. When you're out of it, it's really kind of hard to get back into it. And things tend to just not work out the same way. Like I find that when I'm in a state of gratitude and I'm consistent with a practice, my life actually is better. It works out better. Things work together for my favor. And when I'm not, and I'm not appreciating anything, and I'm feeling stressed and lack mindset, scarcity mindset, my life just kind of shrinks. And spirit is saying that if you feel like your life has been shrinking, you're going to start to see that it's expanding because your emotions are not going to be constantly dictating the way that you operate. And I'm also hearing from Spirit that you might consider picking up a gratitude practice. I know it sounds so cheesy and lame, but I swear it really does make a difference. If you're interested in that, by the way, I always recommend, what do I always recommend? Not only just having like a gratitude list, but I know Bow Life, the creator of like a lot of the tarot cards we use on the channel. I always link her down below. Some of the cards in this reading that I haven't shown you yet, she actually makes. But she does have a journal that is like a gratitude, it's got a gratitude practice in it, which is very cool. But I also recommend the book The Magic. It's by the same person who wrote The Secret, and it's a 28-day practice of gratitude. And I've seen, like, go and look that book up on Amazon and just read the reviews. Like, miraculous transformation. 28-day gratitude practice. And then, like, you can keep using it after that too. But just putting it out there, if you feel like you're stumbling on that, I'll link it down below for you too, just in case you want to check it out. I also really like Manifestation Babes, like money book. If you're wanting to manifest more money, she has like a really good, there's a lot of gratitude in that practice as well. Like it's a 21 day. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting carried away, but the point is, I do feel like emotionally, your emotions are actually going to start getting lighter. And that is a blessing that is coming in for you. You're not going to feel like you're not going to be doing Adele rolling in the deep anymore. Okay. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. Then you also have Tiger Shark. Your ancestors are watching. Make them proud. Ooh, I got the chills. So your ancestors are watching. Make them proud. You might be somebody that really struggles with like, in your family line, like everybody did something specific, or like maybe family is really hard for you because you feel like you don't fit like the familial mold. I myself consider myself a black sheep in my family, so I totally get it. But Spirit is ultimately saying with this reading that your ancestors are also on your side. Like, there were people in your family line that wanted the things that you're aspiring after. And when you work towards these things, when you work to unknot yourself, to move forward, to move with intuition, these are the things that people in your own line wish that they had had the opportunity. And when you do this for yourself, you healed them as well. It like goes back into ancestors, and they are here supporting what you're trying to do. So especially if you're somebody that feels like family doesn't get it, Spirit is saying that your ancestors get it. And then we also have Flower Hat Jelly. Your routine matters. Are you content with it? So remember how I told you in the beginning of your reading? I said that there was something about like your routines with how you do things, how you structure things, how like attuning to the details of your life, and how when you do that, you can create change. And like there was something about routines and feeling like worthy of changing something in the beginning of your reading. I don't remember exactly what I said because that happens when you're channeling sometimes. Like it really is just a channel, and I won't even remember what I said 20 minutes ago. It's very common in channeling if you didn't know. But I know I said something about routines, and you literally get another card about routines. So something that is being blessed right now is your routine. Like I'm going to just say it right now. If you are somebody that is a Sagittarius rising, not everybody listening to this is, but if you are, your house of routines for the next year is the one that is being blessed and expanded, because we have Jupiter in Taurus and you have Taurus natally in the 6th house. I know that because I'm a Sagittarius and because I'm an astrologer. But just putting it out there, if you have like big Sagittarius energy in your chart, specifically risings or ascendants, but I feel like Sun, Moon, Rising, if it's anywhere major for you, or you have like a Sagittarius stellium or something in your chart, that is something that your routine is going to be getting like changed, expanded for the better. It is being blessed so that you feel like your efforts are getting you somewhere. Then we have for you non-duality. Let your authentic humanity shine forth while also bowing into the inner divine. You can become fluent at doing both. So this is also saying, I've kind of felt that with the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Cups. It was like a little bit of femininity mixed with logic. And to me, this is like divine feminine, divine masculine, having that soft but disciplined way of living. Spirit is saying that this is something that you're going to get really good at. Living softly, but also having discipline, and discipline that actually supports the person you're becoming. So Spirit is saying that that is a blessing that is coming. Oh, this next card is pretty. We also have the card of worth. You have been worthy to belong to love all along, without any need to improve. In fact, you are love itself. I just want to recommend something to you because I've also said the word worthy a couple of times in this reading. I know I already recommended The Magic to you, but Spirit is also showing me another book. And if you are a reader, I always recommend the book, especially when it comes to worthiness, returning to love. It's the book is literally called like A Return to Love, and I believe it's by I can't think of her name, but I'll link it down below as well for you if you're interested. I've read it several times. It's just like a really cozy, like I have the audiobook, so I like to listen to it, but it's just really cozy energy. And it just talks a lot about how like you really are love. Love is the only answer. Love sets you free. And you were literally born worthy. Whatever it is that you are desiring to be blessed with, number one, you are going to receive it. And this is a time period where that is shifting for you. Where if you feel like you haven't been being blessed, that's changing for you. But you were already born worthy. It wasn't something that you did that unlocked all these blessings. You were born worthy. You were destined to have these things. Like literally, the card Belladonna in this deck, the Seed and Sickle deck, which I am linking all the decks down below, of course. This card talks specifically about Atropos, who is the goddess of fate, or the Greek goddess of fate who gives she's the one that has like the scissors that snips people's lifelines. But my point to bringing up the like you were born worthy, it was already fated for you to be blessed. So like the cards also talk about like fate is what I'm trying to get to. Like you didn't have to do anything special. It was already fated. And oh my gosh, you also got this card. Are you kidding? I'm sorry, I didn't look at it. I just now noticed. So your last card, we have being enough. The innermost heart says you are enough. Nowhere to go, nothing to get, nothing to change, no need to grow, more deserving. Yes, you are love. I'm going to read that one more time. The innermost heart says, you are enough. Nowhere to go, nothing to get, nothing to change. No need to grow more deserving. You, yes, you are love. So this is literally telling you, you are love. There is nothing you need to do. There is nothing you need to become. Yes, your routines might need a little bit of tweaking as we have discussed, but that doesn't mean that you need to change every single little area of your life so that you can be worthy and perfect. No, you already are. That's why I was saying earlier too about routines. You know, maybe you're someone that gets really in your head about like, oh, it has to be this way. I have to look like these people on TikTok or Instagram for it to be good. No, baby, you're already good. You're already good. You're already worthy just because you are. You already are enough just because you breathe. There isn't anything more you need to become. Just open your heart and your mind to embracing this blessed chapter that's trying to bestow itself on you. You don't have to change anything. Just accept the blessings. And that is what I have for you, pile number 2. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. I love you. And if you would like to support me more, please consider checking out my Patreon. I have an event coming up this weekend where I'm actually going to be doing pick a card, or not pick a cards, but card readings, like 1-question readings in a live stream with y'all. So make sure you join if you want to be part of that community event. I also have private readings available to you on my website, my course, The Authentic Self, which I feel like you're reading in particular. If that is something you feel like you would want to work through, finding your authentic self, check out my course. It's $12. It's totally worth it. And I feel like your reading it speaks to me like you might want to look at that one. Great course. I believe in it because it was work that I did myself and healed myself, and then I wanted to share it with other people. So check that out. I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, and my wish list available to you if you would like to tip me for my readings or send me a gift. Never an expectation, but always appreciated. If you'd like to follow me more, I have my podcast available every Monday. It's called Divine Authenticity. Link down below. I'm also at Kloee Taylor on all social platforms. And I love you so much, Pumpkin. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. All right, pile number 3. If you chose Sailor Mars and Sailor Mercury with the Chariot and the Magician, this is going to be your reading. So we have for you, first and foremost, blessings. We have the Sickle card. And we also have Datura. I think that's how you pronounce that. And the Sickle card, this card, in terms of a blessing, is all about the harvest, because what do you use to harvest stuff? A sickle. So when we think about the harvest, this is all about basically, again, we've talked about this, I think, in like every reading today, but reaping what you sow. And the sickle says that, like, basically anything you've been working on is going to come to pass. So, like, whatever you've been working hard at, you're going to get a reward or a benefit from. That is like blessing number 1. And then with the Datura, this card is really a reminder that it's okay if right before the harvest, you need to take a step back and like gain a greater perspective. You're being given the time to do that, because Datura, this is all about like, you feel like something is like missing from a goal, from your project, from something. And something else that I feel like needs to be said is that, excuse me, this card, it's okay to give 80%. You do not like, I make this argument all the time that when we talk about giving something 110%, we should never be giving something 110%. Because if you think about that, if you're giving 110% of yourself, of your energy, where does that leave room for you? Where does that leave room for your friends, your family, the hobbies that you love? It is my personal opinion that when it comes to working on a project or something, you should be giving like at most 30%. And that doesn't mean like lowball effort. You can still be giving good effort towards something, but you can't be giving 110% of yourself. That is how you burn out. So the Datura card tells me that the blessing with it is that you're finally realizing that rest is productive. It's okay to take a step back before you take that initial harvest and reap what you sow and gain what you're trying to gain from the efforts you've been putting out. It's okay to like take a pause, take a breath. You're being blessed with that time. Now, we also have for you the Page of Cups, the 10 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups. And when it comes to blessings, I love that these are all cup cards. Number 1, you're somebody that really trusts your emotions. You're somebody that really trusts your intuition, because the cups correspond to our emotional well-being as well as intuition. But the blessings that are coming is with Page of Cups. This is literally the card of expect good things. Like this card in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it shows a page with like a chalice in his hand and there's a fish jumping out. And if you look at that, like in like medieval times and shit, if you had a fish jumping out of your cup in your chalice, you would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so abundant. I got a whole fish in here. What the heck? You know, you didn't have to like go get your fishing line out and go get it. So it's about like expecting good things, expecting abundance. So Spirit is saying that there is this level of like expecting reward, and you should, because it's something that is coming. Now, 10 of Cups, I love this card. It is one that I have a very intimate relationship with. 10 of Cups is such a favorable card in terms of a blessing. This is having, like, if you've been wanting a new home, especially if you've been on the prowl for it or you've been wanting to move or have a change, that blessing is coming and the opportunity is going to present itself because the 10 of Cups is the happy home. It's a happy home, happy with family, surrounded by people you love, having your wishes and dreams fulfilled. It's like feeling content within a community or within a family. And to me, it is the blessing of receiving your home, but also just like receiving your deepest desire on like the fullest level it could be given to you. And the 8 of Cups, this is also having like, I firmly believe that there are periods of time where walking away from things is a blessing. And with the 8 of Cups, this to me is like anything that hasn't been serving your progress, your progression, where you're trying to go, what isn't serving your emotional fulfillment. You are being blessed with the insight to see it for what it is and to walk away from the things that no longer, like, honestly, this to me is like the blessing of overcoming self-sabotage and no longer repeating sabotaging behavior so that you can actually get the things that you want out of life. I also want to say that even though I didn't intend for these cards to matter in the reading, the Chariot is also the card of like a move. So if you've been feeling like moving to a new house, I do feel like that like kind of correlates a little bit. Now, we also have the card of Jupiter benefits for you. And y'all, this really is the house, the card of the house. Like, not only that, but you also have the 8th house, endings and beginnings. So I feel like a key phrase for your reading, and also pile number 1. If you felt like pile number 1 was calling your name, I would maybe encourage you to go check that one out as well. There is this phrase that keeps coming to my mind that is, it's the beginning of the end. And not like the end of your life, but like the beginning of the end of a way that things used to be. And now things are going to be different, but they're going to be better. So the 8th house, endings and beginnings, something you need to know is that the 8th house isn't just like deep transformation, endings and beginnings. It also refers to property because the 8th house is the ruler of like debts, taxes, collections, properties. So this does deal with like a house, a property of some kind. Jupiter benefits with this. To me, this is the benefit of property. So it could mean, you know, like I said, signing a contract somewhere, leasing something, buying something, owning something. A new home is something that is coming up very strong. And with this reading, I do feel like you are going to have to leave something behind in order to make this happen or to have this blessing come fully into fruition for you. And some things are going to have to end so this new thing can come in and begin. But know that whatever you're walking away from is going to be replaced tenfold because you do have the card of Jupiter blessings here. And Jupiter, if you didn't know, currently, if you're listening to this when the reading is new, though it doesn't matter whenever, for the next like year, Jupiter is actually moving through the astrological sign of Taurus in tropical astrology, which is what I teach. And Jupiter in Taurus, it is very like pleasurable, sensual, connecting you back to the senses and expanding your life through that. But it also is about like deep satisfaction within the self and pleasing the senses. So I do feel that like that is an area that everybody's chart, wherever your Taurus placement is being blessed. I would always look to your rising and what house Taurus would like falls into. But because everybody does have a Taurus placement, you just have to render your chart in a whole sign house system to figure it out. But this tells me that that area of your life is being blessed. So you could have Jupiter or you could have Taurus in the 8th house or something. Or it's just like wherever Taurus is in your chart is going to be being blessed. And I'm being told by spirit, you need to know that. Like The reason Jupiter came out is because you need to be aware that that's a blessing that's coming into your life over the next year. I probably should do a video on that, but I would probably do it for Patreon. So keep your eyes open for that if you're on my Patreon. But okay, Spirit's telling me I gotta move on. I was like, is there anything else here? But no, Spirit's saying move on to more cards. So we also have for you, your inner world is safe. Embrace all of your emotions to create a state of flow. So if you've been having a lot of intense emotion, intense feeling around change, recognize that it's all right. You are going to be like a blessing that is coming is that you are going to be feeling more aligned internally and you're not going to feel as chaotic in terms of like your emotions and such. That is something that you're being blessed with, is kind of a calming of the emotions so you can enter a flow state more easily. And then we also have know your worth, keep your standards high. So Spirit is saying, gosh, pile number 2 also had a lot about worthiness in it. Maybe you were resonating with every pile. I don't know. But know your worth, keep your standards high. Spirit is saying don't settle, because whatever you're asking for, especially when it comes to your home, I keep seeing a home. Do not settle. Don't tell yourself that like you'll take anything, even if it's like a studio or and like you're somebody that wants like a 3-bedroom house. Don't settle. Know what you are worthy of and keep your standard high, because you're going to get exactly what you ask for. Then we also have for you the card of guidance, which says, when you make divine intelligence your foundation, you finally have a fixed star to follow. Oh, that's such a hard one, but it's true. So when you actually put more emphasis on divine orchestration and you don't just try to logic your way through life, which I do assume that if you're here, you must be a little spiritual, a little witchy. You must be a little bit on your spiritual journey, because I feel like tarot card reading just like really falls into that. You can use them for psychological purposes, of course, but I just feel like tarot cards really fall into that sector of divine guidance. But Spirit is ultimately saying the more that you open yourself up to being led and just continuing to follow your intuition, continuing to let that be the thing that pushes you forward, the easier time you're going to have, and you're going to see how simple things become. I just saw this post actually on Instagram that Manifestation Babe posted. I love her. I consider her one of my mentors, even though she doesn't know me personally. She was recently talking about how she really felt this urge for like the first time in her career to take a sabbatical, like just indefinitely take herself out of working, even though there's launches that are coming up. Like she needs to put an indefinite amount of time into a sabbatical for herself, which if you don't know what a sabbatical is, it's like where you just take like an allotment of time from work. And she was saying that like literally everything inside of her, when this came out of her intuition, she was like, no, I can't take a sabbatical. I have so many launches coming up. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. And then she was like, no, my intuition said you need to take a sabbatical. So I went to my, I think she has like another CEO or like somebody else that like oversees Manifestation Babe, her brand, with her. And she was like, hey, I need to take a sabbatical. Can we start making plans for that? And even though she is like, everything in me said no, but my intuition said yes, I've learned that I have to trust that. I've learned that my intuition never leads me astray. And I have to accept that that's the guidance I've been given right now. And I know that everything will be okay if I trust it. So like, when you allow yourself to be led and to trust and to not control, you're going to see how easy it is to get the things that you want, and your life is going to expand. I say expand because Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Your life is going to expand and you're going to get what you're asking for. And you're not only that, but you're going to be guided towards how to do it. If you feel confused about that, how you're going to receive it, Spirit is saying that guidance is going to be given to you just completely along the way. You're being blessed with having guidance. You're not just going to be out there floundering on your own. And then we also have the card of forgiveness for you, which says healing comes from acceptance. Help me, dear universe, to fully accept knowing that this alone will open me to the new. So the card of forgiveness, I always think of it as like forgiving the self, right? Healing, forgiving the self, accepting what is, knowing that this alone will open you to new. And I also feel like, it's funny that I would bring up Manifestation Babe. I recently restarted Manifestation Babe's, it's like the Money Babe Challenge or something. It's a book that she sells. I'll link it down below. Someday I'm going to have my own abundance thing that I'll talk to you about. I'm still working on it, but it's a 21-day book with like prompts that you follow. And day 2 is a day that's all focused around forgiveness and writing like a 25 thing list of things that you want to forgive in your life when it comes to people or situations or yourself, especially when it comes to money. And I think you can do this with anything. It doesn't have to be money specifically. But when you forgive yourself for acting out of survival mode, acting out of scarcity mindset, you're able to actually find the pathway to living abundantly. And the reason I brought up that book is like, if that sounds like it's up your alley, I always want to give resources to people. So, like I said, I'll link it down below for you. It's the Manifestation Babe book. That's what I'll title it down below. But just know that the more you forgive yourself, the more you open up to more. If you're constantly shaming yourself, berating yourself, putting yourself down, even when you receive goodness and receive blessings, you're not going to be able to enjoy them. So, Spirit is saying you have to start forgiving yourself for your past misdeeds, especially for those of you that have lived out of survival and have had to make decisions that you're not proud of. Okay. That is what I have for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you would like to join me in the future, I do have my Patreon available to you. We have an event coming up this weekend where I'm actually going to be taking questions and reading cards live in like a private community on Patreon. So if you want to be part of that event and have me read your cards, make sure you join. If you would like it more private, I do offer private readings on my website, KhloeTaylor.com. I also offer my course, The Authentic Self. It's $12. It's a wonderful course that I fully believe in because I did the work first so that I could know that it was foolproof and that it worked. And now I am selling that to you because I believe that I told myself that when I got to a certain point in my own journey and healed myself from certain things, that I would share the knowledge that I had so that it would help other people. So that is also available on my website. If you would like to tip me for my reading or send me a gift, I have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, and my wish list down below for you. Never an expectation, but always appreciated. I also have my podcast, Divine Authenticity, available to you every Monday. We're like 140 some odd episodes deep. It's a good time. And we're trying to reach 1 million people this year, 1 million listens. So definitely tune in. And if you'd like to follow me around the web, I'm at Kloee Taylor everywhere that you could find me. And I love you so much, Pumpkin. Please do not forget when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.